Hey everyone, my name's Nathan and I'm the campus pastor here at Public Church, and you're about to watch one of our Sunday gathering talks, and we hope that it will encourage you right where you're at. If you'd like more information about us, you can visit our website, publicchurch.com, or you can connect with us on social media at a public church. Thanks for watching.
As Cody said, that was such a special moment for us, just singing out that song Highlands, a song of trust. And as we go into week 2 of our series called Be Still with the subtitle, The Art of Letting Go, I think we're already seeing that trust wasn't just a theme in week 1, it's going to be a continuous theme as we learn what it means to let go. And last week we actually had Rob Fultz with us. Rob is in this gathering. Could we show him some appreciation? Rob is Lee's campus pastor. He's part of our public family. And man, he just did a phenomenal job last week. And one of the statements he made that just resonated with me throughout the week is that the art of letting go does not start with I quit, but I submit. And trust just oozes out of that statement. That when things don't go our way, we don't just say, I'm done with you, Jesus. We say, okay, I defer to you, Jesus. That is trust. And just for an aside, we had great conversations in our community group about this statement, about the rest of what was said last week. So look, if you're not in a community group, they meet in homes throughout the week so we can embrace the journey of following Jesus together. This is a phenomenal series to get in a community group because you can go deeper than we have time to go in this space. You can ask questions that we simply can't ask here at the 12 o'clock. So if you want to get in one, at the end of the gathering, go to the info hub and you'll get times, locations, what the groups are like. Man, it would just be phenomenal if you took that courageous step to engage on a community group level. So for today, I'm going to ask one question several different ways. Now this week, it's not a survey. You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to nod your head. This is self-evaluation. This is some self-assessment, some reflection. So I ask one question several different ways. Just think about yourself. Here's the question. How's your soul? And we think about, okay, drained, refreshed. How's your soul? Are you fired up, burned out, somewhere in between? On a typical day, not like a weekend or even a Sunday, like a typical Tuesday, Wednesday, what's your normal energy level and attitude as you start your day? And then finally, if your soul were to have a gauge going from full to empty, what would the typical reading be if we considered this season of your life? I know for me, I've spent way more time than I care to admit in seasons where the gauge was leaning much closer to empty than it was to full. And I don't think I'm alone. If we did a survey and we looked at the data, I think we would see that so many of us are tired. That so many of us at a soul level, our souls are tired, they're drained, they're anything but refreshed. And look, I get it. If you're in middle school or high school, I feel like there is so much pressure on you. Even from middle school, you got to know what you're doing and start making choices. They're going to impact your future and build your resume. Or maybe you got to go to work to help make ends meet with mom and dad. There's just this pressure. And in college, you're preparing for the next step and you've got studies and all kinds of social opportunities, not to mention some of you are having to work full time to try to pull all this together. I mean, there's this pressure coming at you and you become a young professional. It doesn't let up at all because sometimes it feels like your boss's like performance target is just moving. You're like, I'm shooting for this moving target and I keep getting bad evaluations, but I don't even know what I'm aiming for. And it's just frustrating and you feel this pressure and you're just tired. Seems like the older we get, sometimes the worse it gets. Maybe some of you are sitting here and going, you know what, I've got 2 kids that are teenagers. I've been doing the same thing for 17 years. Man, I'm tired. And others of you are saying, look, I'm not trying to compare circumstances, but 17 years? I've been there 22 years. I've got a 20-year-old that I can't get to move out. And then I've got a parent that's sick and I've got to move into my house to help take care of them. And our souls are drained. They're tired. They're anything but refreshed. And there's so many reasons for this, just to kind of hit 2 ends of the spectrum. I think some of us are tired because we have all kinds of time but lack vision. Man, we've got time, But we can't find any meaning in the mundane. We show up at work on Tuesday and there's no higher calling or higher purpose. We don't see how we can make the world or even just our little world a better place. And so we just kind of go through the motions and we get home from class or work and we control the one thing we can control, which is our Netflix account. And then we just binge watch another season of another show. And we escape our reality by entering into someone else's reality. But eventually we have to re-enter our own. And when we show back in our own reality, we're just drained. And you say, be still? That's all I do is be still. I'd really like some vision and something to do and something to accomplish. But I'm still, and I'm just exhausted. And on the other end of the spectrum, there's those of us who have so much to do, we just can't quite seem to catch up. Anybody felt like you marked off 3 things on your to-do list only to write down 4? It's like I'm losing every day. And so this whole idea, the art of letting go, I don't have time to learn the art of letting go because what I have to do is I have to tighten my grip and I have to struggle to maintain control because you're not going to complete my to-do list and I'm not going to complete yours. I'm the only one that can get this done. And it just keeps piling up. So I just got to suck it up and grind and just grit my teeth and just figure out a way to get this done. It's tiring, isn't it? It feels like this rat race that will just never end. What we don't realize is wherever we're at on this spectrum, even both ends, there's simply a struggle to maintain control. And in our struggle to maintain control, the casualty is our soul. Our souls are tired. They're drained. They're anything but refreshed. And some of us walked in today wondering, is there a better way? Is there even a path forward? And maybe surprisingly to some of us, the path forward that we're going to discuss is found in Psalm 23. Maybe it's just surprising because this psalm is so familiar to you that you just overlook it. And look, I've been there. I have overlooked this psalm. It wasn't until my mamaw passed away, and by the way, mamaw is Southern for grandmother, in case you're from Ohio, like I'm sure a lot of you are. So when my mamaw passed away, she had Psalm 23 read at her funeral. And look, my mamaw loved Jesus. Like she wasn't just picking some familiar random psalm. And so I was like, what is it about this psalm that made her want that read? Like, why did this mean a lot to her? And then I heard a series of talks from Passion City on this psalm, and those 2 events were really a catalyst for me to kind of open my eyes and stop me from overlooking this psalm. And maybe you're here and you're like, Psalm 23, I've never read it, I'm not familiar with it. I actually think you have an advantage on the rest of us who are familiar with it because we're trying to fight being jaded to it. Because that's oftentimes our natural response. It's jaded, been there, heard that, whatever. But you get to look at it from a fresh perspective. And what we're going to find is that in Psalm 23, there's some direction for how we can shift the gauge on our soul, for how we can begin to move it from empty towards full. So what we're going to do for the next 3 weeks as we talk through this psalm is we're actually going to read it aloud and together. Every week. We're going to read it aloud and together. And you may ask why, and I would going to respond to your question with a question of this. If you have a favorite song, do you listen to it once? You can answer. Yes? Anybody else listen to it over and over again, right? We listen to that song over and over again. And then we sing it in the shower. And then we sing it to our roommates and our spouses and our kids. They hate the song because it's just everywhere. And we sing it and we sing it and we sing it. And the song, here's what it does. The song gets in us. So here's the thing. The treasure that is Psalm 23, we will not find that treasure just by getting in Psalm 23. We're going to find the treasure by getting Psalm 23 in us. So my challenge from the top is whether you follow Jesus or not, why not memorize this psalm? Why not take the next 3 weeks and just try to commit this to memory? Because the treasure is not found just by getting in the psalm, but getting the psalm in us. So we'll read it aloud and together as a move towards getting it in us. So everybody ready? All right, it's going to be on the screen. It says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So we're just going to start and look at the first part today. And the top line is just, the Lord is my shepherd. And part of the wonder of this psalm and why it's so familiar is because it's beautiful and it says such incredible imagery. And we read, the Lord is my shepherd. And I praise the Lord who is my shepherd. Now, come on, I just got to ask a question. How many of you know someone who owns a sheep? Okay, we got two. This is incredible. We got the most people in here. We had one person at 10:30. Here's the reality. If this psalm said, the Lord is a dairy farmer, we're in Bradley County, we could relate to that, okay? But it says the Lord is my shepherd, and besides the 5 people that raised their hand, the one person at 10:30, like most of us don't know a shepherd. Most of us don't know someone who owns a sheep. So like, the Lord is my shepherd, that's so cool. And we have no idea what it means. So just a quick recap on what a shepherd's role is. Really, a shepherd, just at base level, his job is to keep the sheep alive, because sheep aren't the most intelligent creatures. They're dumb, just to say it, okay? So by keeping it alive, it means he's got to make sure that the sheep doesn't get eaten. Got to make sure it doesn't just like accidentally wander off the edge of a cliff, because that could happen. Got to make sure that when the sheep has good grass to eat, that actually eats the grass it's supposed to eat. When he leads the sheep to water, that actually drinks the water. Sheep aren't exactly on the high IQ level. So here's the thing. We think about a shepherd. He's got to deal with all this sheep drama as well. He's got to deal with the fact that Nicole's hair is matty one day and she's jealous because Katie's hair is long and flowing locks of wool. And then he's got to deal with the fact that Fred cheats on Nicole with Katie because of her long flowing locks of wool. And we're sitting here like, oh my goodness, the shepherd's got to deal with all this. So when we hear the Lord is my shepherd, it says great things about God and not so great things about us. And if you're anything like me and you love to control, kind of push back against that. But here's what I found. The times that I resist being labeled a sheep are the times that I'm most in need of a shepherd. Whenever I'm pushing back and saying, I'm not a sheep, I'm smart, I'm not, that's when I'm most in need of a shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, but it's better. It's actually better than it was for the original audience, because they just had these metaphors in this agricultural society of where they thought about sheep and they saw sheep and saw shepherds. Here's what we get. We get Jesus in John 10:11 saying, I am the good shepherd. I lay down my life for the sheep. What this means is we can say, not just the Lord is my shepherd, we can say, Jesus is my shepherd. And you're asking like, okay, well, why can I trust Jesus, the good shepherd? Why is he even good? Because it says, I laid down my life for the sheep, and he did. The cross proves that we can trust him. And why did Jesus have to die? Again, we're sheep, we're dumb, we do our own thing. And anytime we choose our way over the way of the good shepherd, you know what that's called? Sin. Anytime I choose my selfish desires over what's best for you, you know what that's called? Sin. And because of our sin, we're in this dilemma where we desperately need a relationship with God, but we in no way deserve that relationship. Therefore, Jesus, in his perfection, died for us in our imperfection. And it's the only way that we can be forgiven and have a relationship with God. So if you're here and you don't follow Jesus, the first invitation is to follow him, to surrender to the good shepherd who laid down his life for you. So at any point, you can stop listening to me and stop talking to Jesus. And all we ask is that at the end of this talk, that you just go to the back, by that camera, talk to the prayer team. Because here's the thing, sheep live in herds, and we are sheep. We need community. So don't just make that decision in isolation. Go to the prayer team so we can begin to get you plugged into community. But here's the catch, and something we may not want to say out loud, that some of us have trusted Jesus with our eternity, but we don't trust him with the everyday. Some of us have said, oh yeah, I trust you, Jesus, with my eternity, but we don't trust him with the everyday. Anybody reading from the MLV version of Psalm 23? I like to call this the My Life version. It's the version that says, I got this, I'm in control. Here's the MLV. It says, I'm running the town and I go get what I want. Nobody can slow me down. I ain't got time to be still. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Little confession. Have any of you actually said, I'll sleep when I'm dead? And I played it off like I'm joking, but really I meant it. I'm like, I got this. Like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I mean, this is how we live sometimes. Like, I'm running the town. I got this. I'm in control. I go get what I want. You can't slow me down. You can't stop me. I don't need to sleep. Just let me loose. Let me do my thing. And so the struggle is a lot of us have this mindset of that we're running the town. There's really two things that this means for us. The first thing we say, hey, I'm running the town. It means this, I'm calling the shots. Like I'm in control. Nobody is going to tell me what to do. Like everybody's trying to tell me how to live my life. The last thing I need is a shepherd, Jesus, telling me what to do. Okay, Jesus, here's the thing. You just rule heaven, and when I show up there, I'll submit. But while I'm here on earth, I'm running the town. And we may not say that, but our actions say that. I'm calling the shots. The second way we're off to run into town is simply this. I'm searching for more. I'm running here and I'm running there and I'm searching. I just, could I get a little love here and could I get a little acceptance here and could I get a little worth here and a little value here? And if there's even a chance that I might get a taste of love or worth or value or acceptance, man, I lean into that. I run towards it, but guess what? It's just a taste. And it goes away. So we start off with the My Life version and we end up with the ALV, the actual life version, which is where I think a lot of us are, that I'm running the town, but my struggle for control feels out of control. I'm searching everywhere for something I can't find anywhere. I'm drained, exhausted. So many emotions fill me, but the one I'm missing is peace. Deep down, I'm broken, and I don't know what to do. I've got this. I'm calling the shots. But the reality is our struggle for control, we're actually out of control. I'm searching. Well, we're actually searching everywhere for something that we can't find anywhere. And we read this is a little too real for a lot of us, isn't it? Because our souls are tired, they're drained, they're anything but refreshed. So if we continue the psalm, it says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. That word want means to lack anything. It says that when Jesus is the shepherd that we follow and that we trust, that he provides for all that we need. To which some of us go, man, yes, I'm living that. I'm experiencing that. Man, yes, that's where I'm at right now. And some of us go, hold on a second. Then why was it my family member who died? Why did my mom get the diagnosis? Why haven't I gotten the job or any job for that matter? Like I've got a list of wants. You want to talk about I shall not want? Well, I've got my list of wants. And look here, we don't run away from the tough questions. We run straight at them. And come back next week because we're going to dive in and talk more about trust issues and this whole idea of I shall not want. But I just want to leave you with two simple thoughts for today. And it's simply this, that when Jesus is our good shepherd, he provides all we need to endure the adversity. And I know some of you still are like, man, I just can't go there. I'm just pushing back against it. So with gentleness, I just want to ask this question for you to think about between now and next Sunday. Okay, if you're not going to trust Jesus, then how are there alternatives working out for you? Because so often we're trying to control, but the casualty is our soul. So often we're searching everywhere for something we can't find anywhere. And maybe we're looking for just that momentary high. Maybe we know we're drinking too much. Maybe it's a substance and we get that high. Maybe it's a relationship that we know we shouldn't be involved in, but we just get that feeling that we're looking for. Maybe it's something as simple as online shopping and we know we don't have the money, but it just gives us that momentary high. But all of those things, they just numb the pain. Only Jesus died for our pain and can lead us through it. So come back next week and let's wrestle with this reality and this offer from Jesus. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And then it says, he makes me lie down in green pastures. Like he makes me. More on that in just a moment. Here's the invitation of this first part of the psalm. The invitation is simply this: stop running the town and lie down. That we would stop this desire for control, that I'm calling the shots. We would stop this search that's not getting us anywhere, and we would stop running the town and lie down. And if we don't accept the invitation, then sometimes the good shepherd has to make us. Because sometimes sheep, we're dumb. We don't do what we need to do. And this became very real in my life when I began 2019 with mono. That wasn't exactly like my New Year's wish. Like on New Year's Eve, I'm like, ball drops, I want to wake up with mono tomorrow, but I did. And just a little prayer to put this out there for everybody. I do not want that to start 2020. Jesus, just throwing that out there. But here's what happened. Jesus used mono to change me. Now I know there's some theological implications there, and you're like, did God strike you with mono? I don't think so. Did God use mono to change me? Oh yeah. He made me lie down. And really the shift occurred for me when Cody Disney, our worship pastor and my best friend, he said this, hey, what if you let mono make you do what you know you need to do but won't do? And I was like, I think I'm offended, but I don't quite understand. Can you say that again? Slow down. Like, text that to me. So what if you let mono do what you know you need to do but you won't do? What if mono made you lie down? And it did. Jesus used mono to make me let go of some things, to make me reevaluate and reassess and my pace and slow down. And honestly, I attribute the way Jesus used mono and making me lie down to one of the healthiest, if not the healthiest, soul years that I've had. He makes me lie down in green pastures. It's like, okay, cool, so we need to lie down, but we need to understand this nuance when it comes to lying down. Lying down is more than inactivity. Sometimes we think, okay, I'm gonna lie down, so that just means I'm not gonna do anything. Look, we said at the beginning, some of us, we have all kinds of time, we lack vision, and we're exhausted. So some of our inactivity might be just scrolling endlessly on social media, binge watching Netflix, hanging out with people that we have no business hanging out with, but I've got margin and I can do this, and I'm chasing that momentary high just because it's the only kind of fleeting feeling I can get that makes me feel better and numbs the pain. Lying down is so much more than just inactivity. So how do we lie down? And I think what we're gonna see is that when the Good Shepherd makes us lie down, he always gives us two things. So if you're writing things down, write down these two words: peace and restoration. When Jesus makes us lie down, we always, guaranteed every single time, get peace and restoration. The psalm continues and says, he leads me beside still waters. It's a beautiful image, a vivid image of just peace. Anybody in here love the water? Anybody have a boat you want to take me on? I'm just kidding, okay? But seriously, I'll be in the lobby afterwards. I love the water. You know, Colin mentioned in hosting that we had baptisms last Sunday and it was awesome. But some of us got to be a part of another baptism on Sunday night up at the river. It was Kaylee Hughes' baptism. We got to partner with North Cleveland Church of God to do that. And it was just this beautiful moment. It was the third time that day that I got to see a parent baptize a child. And that's where it's at, man. That is awesome. So we're out there and the baptism's happening, it's going well. And her dad, Richie, says, hey, you guys want to go on a boat ride? And I'm like, one boat ride? I got all night. Like Richie, like Whitney can put the boys to bed. Like I'm good. Like I can stay here. Let's get on the boat. So we get on the boat and we're riding and Oliver, our 8-week-old, he's there. And Cody says, man, this is everything a baby wants. It's like a breeze, noise, somebody holding him. I'm like, everything Oliver wants, this is everything I want. Like, this is amazing. Like we stop and everybody gets off the boat and I'm just kind of sitting there like, Richie, can we go again? No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that, but I did think about it. Man, just such a peaceful environment. And that's the image that the psalmist is writing us, that he wants us to see this vivid, peaceful, serene place. That's where the Good Shepherd makes us lie down. That's where the Good Shepherd leads us to. And the reality is, some of us, we've missed peace for so long that we're not even sure what it feels like. And so Jesus says, hey, stop running the town. Lie down and let me give you peace. But he also gives us restoration. He says that he restores my soul. I love the different versions of this verse. In the NIV, it says that in the NLT, it says he renews my strength. In the NIV, he refreshes my soul. In the Message, it says he lets me catch my breath. Isn't that what we want? We're so tired. And he says, look, let me restore you. And restoration, it means that somebody begins to pick up the broken pieces and make them whole again. So the question is, who needs restoration? Who's broken? Who has control issues? Who gets a tired soul sometimes? And I don't think I'm alone. And so what we have to do is we got to evaluate, okay, if my version of lying down is leading me towards anything but peace and restoration, then I need to let go of my version and follow the way of the Good Shepherd. Like, think about that. If my version of lying down, if I'm sitting here, this is inactivity, this is how I'm be still, this is how I lie down. If my version is giving me anything except peace and restoration, stop it. Stop running the town and lie down. So a question we have to ask is, how do I lie down to accept Jesus' peace and surrender? Like, how do I lie down to accept? It's a gift that Jesus gives us. We can't attain it on our own. We can't achieve it on our own. How do we accept Jesus' peace and restoration? And so I just want to share my process and how I lie down. Not to say, hey, do it this way, but to just give you a glimpse into my process of self-evaluating. That's why we started with that. Some self-assessment and realizing, okay, here's how I need to lie down. And I just want to say this, please don't miss this. He makes us lie down because he made us to lie down. Like, think about this. He makes us lie down because he made us to lie down. Like, our creator, Jesus, he designed us. He knows how all of us are uniquely wired. He knows what it means for us to lie down and experience and receive his peace and restoration. So let's involve him in this process. That's why the first two ways I lie down, they're not just for me, they're for all of us. These are non-negotiables. The first way is time in the Word. Now, where that gets unique for me is it's not just time in the Word, but I have to have time in the Word with my journal. Because you know what my journal does? It makes me slow down. Let go of all the things I need to do and just be still with God and his Word and his presence. I need that. The second thing that's a non-negotiable is prayer. And then uniquely for me, there's just something special for me about getting on my knees and just praying to Jesus on my knees. But I also need prayer throughout the day, like a continual conversation. It does me no good if I just get on my knees in the morning and like, peace out, Jesus, see you tomorrow. That doesn't do me any good for my soul. And then my favorite way to pray is actually just to go for a run. Just me and Jesus on a run. So we got to figure out how we do that. But time in the Word and prayer are non-negotiable because Jesus made us. He makes me lie down because he made us to lie down. So we must give our Creator a voice in this discovery process. And the way he speaks to us is through his Word and through prayer. And look, if you're sitting here and you're like, I don't feel comfortable like diving into the Word, I don't know how to do that, please email Katie@publicchurch.com. She is a real person, by the way, if you're wondering. She's our executive assistant. Email Katie. Because we have tools and resources, and we can even put you face to face with somebody who can talk with you about how to read the Word. And if you're like, I don't know how to pray, I know I need to, man, go to our prayer team. They wrote a guide to teach people how to pray who don't know how to pray. Like, we've got resources for you. Go see them. So the rest of these are just simply unique to me. And the next thing is, kind of hinted at it already, is exercise. So part of my Saturday night routine as I'm getting ready for today and really centering myself and internalizing what I'm going to speak on is to go for a run. And then Monday on my day off, my day of refreshment, more on that later, I go for a run. Tuesday's my Monday. It's my long day. Lots of meetings usually, a long day. So where do I start Tuesdays? In the weight room. Because I need that. That's how I'm wired. I also need soul level conversations with Whitney. Like not just like, how are you doing? How are the kids? What's this? No, like soul level connections with her, conversations. That's what I need. I need time with my boys. A lot of times for Liam, since he's a year and a half, that's going to the playground. I love it when he says, Dad, I slide. I'm like, yes, Dad, I will slide. Let's go. Or then, Dad, I hold me? Oh yeah, I'll hold you. Come on. And just Oliver, he's only 8 weeks old. So a lot of times that's just simply holding him. Last Monday, incredibly soul refreshing moment. I'm just holding him. He falls asleep on my chest and I'm reading a book because that's my next thing is I've got to be reading a book. I need to be intellectually challenged and reading does that for me. And then maybe some of you can relate to this. I need to compete. Any athletes hear me on that one? Like I am just wired to compete. So if I'm not competing or part of competition in some way, there's this angst within me that I just can't settle unless I go beat somebody at something or at least get beat by them. I just got to try, okay? So I'm like wired for that. So I need to compete. And then finally, I need a day off, like a full, legit day off. Our family, we call it our Sabbath. Sabbath is an Old Testament concept where you take a whole day of rest, and Mondays are that Sabbath. I'm not responding to Slack or text. I'm not worried about what's coming Tuesday. We're not doing much around the house. It is a day of margin where we can practice all the habits of lying down where Jesus gives us peace and restoration. And Sabbath usually begins on Sunday night at Tres Hermanos. Come on, somebody. And Sabbath's off to a great start when we transition to Perkins. I'm just saying, some food is essential for a good Sabbath. But that's how I lie down. How do you lie down to accept Jesus' peace and restoration? Public worship is going to come up, and they're going to lead us in a song. But before you stand and sing, I just want to challenge you. Begin to answer that question. The invitation of this psalm, stop running the town and lie down. So the question is, how do I lie down to accept Jesus' peace and restoration? So maybe you get out your phone or your journal and you start writing a few things, contrasting. This drains me, this refreshes me. Maybe you send a text to a friend and say, hey, you know me really well, so let's get together this week. Maybe you put a reminder in your phone for when community group is to say, hey, I've got to bring this up at our community group. But the reality is, our souls, too often, they're drained, they're tired, they're anything but refreshed. And Jesus says, let me allow you to catch your breath. Why wouldn't we take his offer? So these guys are going to lead us in a song called Bigger Than I Thought You Were. Kind of like Highlands that we sang before the talk. It's a declaration of trust. And in the bridge of the song, the driving word is just rest. That he refreshes, he renews, he gives us peace and restoration. So begin to answer the question, how do you do that? How do you lie down? And when you're ready, let's stand and sing this song and begin to lean into the offer of rest that only our Good Shepherd can provide. Jesus, you are phenomenal. I thank you that you designed us. You know what we need, you uniquely wired us. I pray that you would begin to speak to us even in these few moments. That our souls would begin to shift from empty to full, even in these next closing moments of this gathering. And then that we would begin to discover and cultivate these habits, these ways to lie down, so we can be way healthier people in a few months than we were when we walked in today.